Okay, so we will continue with paleontology. The fastest moving species among the invertebrates belong to cephalopods. The most ancient type of eyes in trilobites are called holochroal. The dominant forms of microfossils in the abyssal region are radiolarians. Which of the following is not the class of tetrapods? Fish. The oldest class of tetrapods is amphibians. The first known amphibia are the ichthyostegids. The earliest and most primitive reptiles are cotylosaurs. Which of the following reptiles adopted themselves for flight? Pterosaurs. In India, the herbivorous dinosaurs had been first located near the river Godavari. The fossils of world's first carnivorous dinosaur was found in 1998 at Jabbalpur. The largest of the dinosaurs were sauropoda. Which of the following suborders includes both carnivorous and herbivorous forms of dinosaur? Paleopoda. The range of age of sauropoda is from Jurassic to Cretaceous. How many pairs of appendages are present in the head shield of trilobites? 5. Which of the following is not matched correctly? Olinus Silurian. Okay. Trinucleus, Ordovician, Olenellus, Lower Cambrian, Paradoxites, Middle Cambrian. Sidaris, regular equinoids, Calimeni, Trilobita, Natica, Gastropod, Lopedecinus, irregular equinoids. Amphibians first appeared during Devonian. Amphibians first appeared during Devonian. Reptiles originated in Carboniferous. Which of the following are the beaked dinosaurs? Ornithischians. Which of the following is not correctly matched? Simuria reptiles. The earliest known fossil bird is Archaeopteryx. The mammals evolved in great variety and number during Cenozoic. Of all the evolutionary histories of mammals, which one is widely known? Horse. Which of the following continents was the real theater of equine? Okay. Horse evolution. North America. In North America, the entire evolutionary sequence of horses is recorded in sedimentary deposits. The world's most ancient known equine was recovered in Eocene. Which is the earliest fossil remains of horse in equine evolution? Eohippus. Which of the following is known as dawn horse? Eohippus. Eohippus is Eocene, Myohippus Oligocene, Hypohippus Miocene, Plesiohippus Pliocene. The modern horses belong to the genus Equus. The dental series of Equus is 313, 3143, 143, 40. Which of the following continents was the homeland of camels? North America. The genus Camelus has a dental formula 1123, 3133 into 234. Which of the following is not matched correctly? Mesohippus Pliocene. The earliest and most primitive proboscidean elephant was Moerithia. The earliest known ape-like creature with established anthropoid status is Oligopithecus. Land plants first appeared in Silurian. Which of the following periods is known as Age of Fishes? Which of the following periods was the Age of Coal Plant? Carboniferous. Which era is called Age of Reptiles? Mesozoic era. Okay, Age of Fishes is Devonian. The name Jurassic originated from the Jura Mountains of Germany. The first dinosaurs appeared in Triassic. Which of the following era is the age of mammals? Cenozoic era. Which of the following epochs does not belong to Paleogene period? Miocene. Remote sensing. The fractional scale of the map is represented as 1 is to 50,000. By which method of spatial referencing system the relative position of any location on the surface of the earth is represented? Rectangular coordinate system. The non-coordinate system is also called as third coordinate system. The vast majority of map projections are based upon cones, cylinders, planes, all of them. If a sheet paper is laid tangent to a point on the globe and transferred the geographical feature of the globe onto it, we would achieve azimuthal projections. Which of the following properties of water are mainly used for locating marine fishery resources? Temperature and ocean color. Which of the following map projections are used for navigation? for the maps of equatorial regions in which the distances are true and correct only along equator, Mercator. Which of the following grid system is adopted for India? Lambert grid. For UTM grid, the world is divided into 60 zones. Which of the following spectral bands is used in satellite remote sensing? Visible light. Which of the following radiations is or are of greater interest in remote sensing? Visible and near infrared radiation 0.4 to 3 micrometer. No. Millimicron. Micrometer হওয়া and infrared 3 to 14 micrometer, microwave radiation 5 to 500 micrometer. The reflective range lies between 0 and 1. Which of the following has reflectance 1? Snow. Which of the following equation is the fundamental equation by which the conceptual design of remote sensing technology is built? Rho lambda is equal to 1 minus E lambda. Which of the following information does a radar signal detect in soil moisture condition? Both C and D. Which of the following satellites has equilateral orbit? Space shuttle. Which of the following satellites has geostationary orbit? GOES. The, the orbit of which of the following satellites is not sun synchronous? Meteosat. Pixel is completely characterized by the linear dimension of the sensor IFOV projected on the ground, the distance between consecutive IFOV samples, the number of bits representing the measured radiance. The orbital period of the geostationary satellites is 24 hours. The meteorological satellites use both of the above: near polar orbit, geostationary orbit. For high quality image presentation, the pixel sizes of the display are usually less than 0.1 millimeter. Remote sensors record reflected and refracted radiant flux from the Earth's surface material. Water gives almost nil reflectance in infrared regions. Radar is a type of active sensor. Spatial resolution of remote sensing sensors is known as pixel dimension. Which of the following is not one of the four major activities of the GIS? Mining. Any GIS system for the measurement of the areas, distances, and angles require a standard measurement unit, a measurement procedure. In aerial photogrammetry, the photographs are taken by aerial camera on board aircraft. What is the characteristics of aerial photographs of immense value as a data source for GIS? Wide availability, time freezing ability, three-dimensional perspective, all of the above. Okay. According to Robinson, 1958, which is not a geographical qualities, density, which is not a cartographic symbol, volume, which is especially required for mapping three-dimensional data, volume data, which is the generic subsystem in GIS, so data capture subsystem, data storage subsystem, data manipulation subsystem, which is the important component of GIS. Computer hardware, proper organizational setup, application software modules. The software package for a GIS consists of the basic technical modules: data input and verification, data transfer, manipulation, data storage, and database management. The fundamental methods of representing geological entities are raster method, vector method, which is not a topological vector data model, GeoBase. Which of the following is disadvantage of raster model? Data structure is less compact. Database management cannot have the function data loss. The interaction with database system is to perform which of the following broad types of tasks? Data collection. Which of the following is generally not performed by the database professional? Data manipulation. GPS has the advantages to identify or define geographical coordinates. Ground truthing of satellite imagery is cost-effective tool for updating GIS or CAD. Digital terrain modeling (DTM) does not encompass which of the following tasks? DTM activation. Polar orbiting and sun synchronous satellites are generally located at an altitude of about few hundred to few thousand kilometers. Geostationary satellites are located at an altitude of about 36,000 km. The repeat cycle of GOES satellite is twice per hour. Which of the following satellites is an ocean monitoring satellite? NIMBUS. Which of the following is an Indian satellite? IRS. A map of the scale of 1 is to 24,000 compared to a map at the scale of 1 is to 62,500 is a large scale map. An aerial photograph taken with a camera of having a focal length of 6 inches flying 10,000 feet above the datum has a scale of 1 to 20,000. Black and white Vertical stereo aerial photographs are taken of an area which has a variety of mass movement phenomena present. For purposes of practical geologic and geomorphic interpretation of the photographs, one of the principal advantages of a flight of the photo of a flight time close to noon sun time is the high sun angle minimizes shadows and modeling of the terrain. A site location map must include scale, orientation, title, and geographic reference. To map regional structural to map regional structural features and bedrock fracture patterns in a temperate, heavily vegetated area, which technique is most effective. Side-looking airborne radar imagery, Landsat false color with high altitude NASA vertical photographic regional gravity maps. Side-looking airborne radar imagery. I think this to use historic aerial photographs to monitor slope movements of a large landslide, the photographs must be corrected for radial distortion. Okay, geomorphology. Which one of the following is not a chemical weathering process? Thermal expansion. Which of one of the following reactions shows the process hydrolysis? KAlSi3O8 plus H2O will form HAlSi3O8 plus KOH. Slow flowing from higher to lower ground of masses of soil saturated with water is called solifluction. The downward limit of erosion by stream is known as base level. A stream whose course was determined by the initial slope of the land is called consequent stream. Resequent streams are those which flow in the same direction as the original consequent stream. A stream which drains in a direction opposite to that of the original consequent stream is called obsequent stream. Drainage patterns characterized by irregular branching of tributary streams in many directions are called dendritic patterns. In rectangular drainage patterns, main stream and tributaries display right angle vents. The total length of streams in a given drainage basin divided by the area of the drainage basin is called drainage density. Sharp crested ridges with steep dips greater than 45 degrees are called hogbacks. Extremely broad and gently sloping valleys are example of which one of the following fluvial cycles old age. Okay. An erosional ridge having a long gentle slope on one side and abrupt slope on the other is known as cuesta. Meandering streams are characterized by fining upward sequence. When water of stream descends over a step-like structure, it is known as cascade. Steep gradient reaches of a stream in which stream velocity is high are described as rapids. Waterfalls and rapids are most typical of youth stage. Streams which are not proportional in size to the valleys that they occupy are called misfit rivers. Arcuate ridges of sand and gravel found on the convex side of meanders and grow by individual increments outwards in the meander curve are called point bars. The lateral coalescence of a series of alluvial fans gives rise to the formation of Piedmont alluvial plain and Bahada. Steeply rising scarps marking the outer limits of flood is known as bluffs. A basin more or less rimmed by mountain is described in US as Bolson. Lakes formed in arid regions are called playas. Lawson's theory is concerned with pediment, an isolated hill rising abruptly from a lowland erosion surface in desert regions is called Inselberg. The lifting and removal of loose materials from the Earth's surface by wind action is known as deflation. Residual masses of weak rocks capped with harder rock are described as pedestal rocks. Which of the following is a feature exhibited by river in its youth stage? River piracy. Monad knocks are equivalent to Inselbergs. Which one of the following is not an erosional feature? Delta. Hamada is a hard mantle left behind when the loose particles are swept away by the wind. The bird foot delta is exhibited by river Mississippi. The crescentic shaped dunes with the points directed downwind is called Bargan. Longitudinal dunes are formed where sand supply is meager but winds are strong from one direction. Which of the following dunes is generally formed adjacent to beaches? Blowout dune. Dunes developed with a partial cover of plants are called phytogenic dunes. Which of the following is an example of phytogenic dunes for gene? The land counterpart of delta is a or an alluvial fan. The thickest deposits of aloes are found in northern China. Loess is an Eolian deposits of silt and clay. The term karst is named after the occurrence of a typical limestone of Yugoslavia. Which of the following conditions is essential for the development of karst? Presence of limestone or dolomite. Rocks should be dense, highly jointed, and thinly bedded. Existence of entrenched valleys with uplands underlain by soluble and jointed rocks. Edged, pitted, and rugged surfaces exposed in limestone terrains are known as lapis. Sinkholes developed slowly downward by solution beneath a soil mantle without physical disturbance of the rock are described as dolines. Deposits of mineral matter developed upward from the floor of a cave by the action of dripping water are called stalagmites. Elongated basin with a flat floor and steep walls developed due to solution action of down folded limestone blocks is called pole. Small residual hills found on the floors of coal is described as shaft. Which of the following landforms are made by the action of underground waters? ABD. Stylolites, lapids, and stalagmites. Two-cycle theory of Davis is associated with cavern development. Blind valleys are formed under which of the following geomorphic environments karst? At present, what percent of Earth's land surface is covered by glacial ice? 10%. Approximately how much of land surface was covered by ice during the last great ice age? 30%. In which of the following continents valley glaciers are not found? Australia. Okay, we'll keep till this much.